Hey folks, welcome to the show. Happy April Fools and happy Easter weekend, or Easter Monday as it is now. That's what's responsible for me wearing a Flames jersey, despite this is an Oilers video, because one, it's April Fools. I figured this is the least I could do. I could wear a Flames jersey, and two, you could say red for the blood of Christ, or if you want to get deep into it. But I just thought it'd be fun. That's as deep as I went into it. I was tempted to wear my Flames jersey out when I went to watch the game, but I decided I didn't want to do a ton of explaining or any of that. I was kind of like, well, I need Ekholm to have another big game, so I'll wear my Eberle jersey because it's number 14, and just like Ekholm, and Eberle starts with an E like Ekholm. And Ekholm did have another big game. Unfortunately, he was the only guy who had a big game for the Oilers. But so let's get into that. The Blues are not good at controlling the game. They're only good defensemen. Well, I mean, I like Justin Falk, but he hasn't been up there this year. The only guy of note there defensively is called Colton Parayko. I think a lot of people still want to hate on him from last year, but I think he's had an excellent year this year. Um, but I had full expectations that the Oilers should take control of the game, and I think the Oilers did too. But it wasn't a consistent effort. The St. Louis Blues were able to surprise the Oilers at points of the game, and a lot of there was a lot that went on. The ice didn't seem to be so good, or the puck was bouncing a lot. But anyways, let's get into it. The beginning of the first period, the Oilers do have the majority of time possession on ice. The Blues get a couple chances. Jake Neighbors had a breakaway that Skinner was able to stone. He actually broke Ekholm's ankles, or broke ankles. As much as that means in hockey, it's not like Ekholm fell down. Neighbors was able to or not maintain, but shift his speed in a way to get around Ekholm, which is very hard to do. And Neighbors was able to get a good break, but he wasn't able to do the same to Skinner. Skinner makes a big save, and one of many for him, but not as many as the other guy makes. Jordan Binnington, I didn't write down big saves or any of that, but he makes a lot of big saves throughout the game. I'm going to mention that quite a few times. I'm just going to set it out now that he didn't start making big saves in the second, third, or OT. Spoiler alert if you didn't read the title. It started from the get-go. But a puck does get past him at the 7-minute and 5-second mark when Mattias Ekholm's blast from the blue line hits the back of the net. It's his 9th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Sam Carrick and Connor Brown. The first period remains kind of quiet. Evander Kane does get a goal past Binnington, but that's called off due to high sticking on him. I felt that was a good call. That came just 4 minutes left in the first. I feel like it's important for me to say a good call because one, people have a understandable perception that Oilers fans never agree with the refs. And I get it. There's some fans who just don't. And the refs did become a discussion this game. I don't think it excused the Oilers or helped the Blues too much, but I'll leave that discussion for the end and for the comment section below. While I'm at that, I've been meaning to try to start saying like, subscribe, and all that before the end, so I'll get that now. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you think I earn it, or will earn it, or just like anyways, I'm happy about that. And please subscribe and turn on notifications for more. It's a huge help for me to hear that and to see that. I really appreciate that because sometimes you don't know where things are going to go, especially with how volatile YouTube can be when it comes to growing a channel. But speaking of not knowing how things go, the second period comes around and it's not a period you'd expect from the Blues. As I said, the Blues are not good at controlling the pace of the game. They have some very good forwards and an incredible goalie, but their defense isn't good at controlling the game. And the Oilers are very good at controlling the game. Despite that, the Oilers have not a good second period. It's undisciplined and allow the Blues to get a lot of shots off, both on even strength and on the power play. It begins with, but before all that comes around, there's another goal by the Oilers that's called off. This one was tough. So what happens is Hyman has a rush on the net, and it's saved. and he go so it's on the Binnington's right is where he's coming in, and Binnington saves it, and as Hyman skates by, uh, Binnington's stick moves to the right, and so it looks like that Hyman. Well, we know what Hyman made contact with Binnington's stick. The argument is, did Hyman push unintentionally Binnington's stick to the side, or was it, what, was Binnington just doing it because he was trying to reach out for the glove to make the stop? Because the puck ends up in front of him by foot, and so it looks like Binnington is reaching his right hand back, so the stick is now outside of the 5 hole and reaching his glove forward to grab the puck. But before he can do that, Nuge beats him to it and puts it through his 5 hole where his stick once was. I also forgot to mention Justin Falk was trailing Hyman, so he wasn't in the vicinity to get the rebound. And I'm not saying that to dish on Falk. I think because his stick also hits Binnington, or no, his skate hits Binnington's stick, pushing it further behind Binnington, allowing Nuge to have a 5 hole. And he scores. It's his first even strength goal since being in St. Louis a while ago. So that goal is called off because Hyman was in the area. I say that partially jokingly, but it keeps happening, and I disagreed with the call. I wasn't too angry because I could see what the refs were getting at. I don't believe in asking the refs to be perfect because I'm not. We as fans are certainly not. But as long as I could understand the logic, and I understood the logic of, well, Hyman did nudge Binnington's stick, and Binnington's stick was misplaced, not allowing to make the save. Therefore, it was goal interference. But I also felt that the stick was going back behind, not really behind Binnington, but to his side, regardless of Hyman's contact. And Justin Folk's skate also contacted the stick after Hyman. Therefore, wasn't really Hyman. I think Binnington had the chance to make the save, one, if he kept his stick there, and two, if Folk didn't push it either. So I disagreed with the call quite a bit more now that I keep thinking about it and replaying it. I'm like, no, that really shouldn't have been a call. But I also understand it, so I don't want to get too angry. Maybe there's a conspiracy because, the call comes from Toronto, and there's always jokes about, well, then it's controlled by Toronto, which isn't true. There's a lot of times Toronto fans will point out where call didn't go their way, but at the same time, maybe we'll just be in conspiracy land because I like conspiracy land and say the people in the Toronto control room are still mad that Hyman left and mad that he hit 50 goals, and so they've just been keeping him down. And okay, whenever he's in the vicinity, it's called off. Because the last 2 years, it feels like Hyman has like 15 goals called off. It's probably not that high, but it feels like that. It feels like there's been a crazy amount. It's part of because of the way he plays, because he's a hard worker, which has nothing to do with him being a rich child, Andrew. Not you, Andrew. I almost called you a joke, but McGear is your last name. Yeah, you probably know where I was going, and I had to cut myself short. Not because I accidentally forgot your last name, but that's because I never use it. Because we're on a first name basis, Andrew. The other Andrew I was talking about is a reporter. I did a video on it, 40-minute video. I shouldn't have done 40-minute, but whatever. It happened. It's out there. It's too long, but I thought it was a good video. Back to the game. That's a tangent. I've been pretty good at keeping those under control, but obviously not just then. Anyway, so back to the game. So at the 6-minute 11-second mark in the second period, Nuge's goal is called off because Hyman was in the area. It's an oversimplification if you want to defend the refs. Michael's made a good point, which I agreed with and kind of noticed, is, when Binnington feels like he's interfered with, he's got the personality to make a big, I don't want to use the word stink of it, but he does make a big stink of it when he feels like he's interfered, and I'm not using that in a negative way because I kind of do that too when I'm a goalie. But he didn't look to the rest. He didn't look to the coach. He's like, dang it, I should have kept my stick in the front, was his body language. But he didn't make any indication that he felt he was interfered with when he absolutely would if he did. So that's another suggestion that maybe it should have been a good goal, but obviously refs can't always take in players' body language as reliable source, But anyways, so St. Louis would go on the power play because Kane and Tucker fought 26 seconds after that was called off. it was a very good fight by Kane. He uh, absolutely demolishes Tucker, gets a lot of punches in and stuff, but because of the way Kane grabbed Tucker, Tucker's helmet came off, and the refs felt that that deserved a penalty because you're not supposed to take a guy's helmet off. But I'm like, and I'm sure everyone else watching was, it's a fight. Helmets come off all the time in a fight. It's I don't think Kane like took two hands and or anything. And I get why that call's there during play, but this is during a fight. Like, so that was another call that I disagree with. And obviously, in Oilers fans' minds, there's being Canadian, there's already the distinction of, oh, refs hate us and that. But with recent history of last week, it's there too, with the way the game Ottawa went and how Winnipeg almost went, how that game almost went. And so it's certainly in the minds of Oilers fans of, oh, we're getting screwed by the refs. I don't. Again, I'll discuss that at the end. But at this point, it's kind of like, okay, we've had 2 goals called off, even if one of them was fair, and King gets a pretty dumb penalty. And this, to make it worse, the Blues score on that power play. It's Braden Shen tying the game with his 16th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Kevin Hayes and Justin Folk. The Oilers, Skinner makes a stink. He thinks he was interfered with, and the Oilers challenge the play. What happened is, what I believe is where they were looking at is, I believe his name is Torpachenko. Forgive me if I missed a vowel or two there, but the big Russian center that they have, his name starts with a T and ends in Chenko. His stick gets caught up in Skinner's blocker arm, but the stick leaves Skinner's blocker arm as the shot is coming. So while I feel like it wasn't enough contact to constitute a goal interference and to call it off, I think it was a good call that the call should stand. I also know as a goalie myself that it takes very little to prevent a save from a goalie. Very little contact to do that. Again, I don't think there was enough there, but it doesn't take much because of how fast the puck is going, how fast you have to be. You can't lose any time getting caught up on a guy's stick. And also, it messes up your muscle memory too. So again, I do think it was a good call by the refs. I thought I agreed with the call standing, but this is now 3 goal reviews, 3 lengthy goal reviews where the Blues were favored all 3 times. And while I think they were right to be favored in 2 of those, it's still okay. We're 0 for 3 when Oilers fans are thinking we're 0 for 3 when a goal is challenged or whatnot or reviewed. And the thought of refs screwing us obviously creeps in. So if you see Oilers fans complaining about the refs, I certainly did, or blaming the refs, while I don't disagree with them, I didn't bother arguing with them because I think most fans, regardless of whether they were Oilers fans, Leafs fans, Panthers fans, Kings, whatever, I think a lot of fans in their position would have agreed. I just do my best to not contribute to that, not just because I see it a lot as an Oilers fan, but I see it a lot from other fan bases too. And I was a ref in basketball, so even though it was kids reffing, so it's obviously an extremely different level for the NHL. I still can understand it because I butted head with some very passionate parents and one jerk of a coach. That's a different story. So anyways, that's another tangent, but that one was more hockey related. So even though it was lengthy, so the Oilers are penalized for that. The Blues have a really good chance to make it a 2-1 game for them, and it becomes even better when not even halfway into the power play, Draisaitl goes off for tripping. There's now over a minute of 5-on-3, but the Oilers' penalty kill just becomes excellent during that. Nuge, Ceci, and Ekholm, I believe, were out for the majority of it. They were very excellent on that. I don't even remember the Blues having a good shot on goal during that. So even though they had a power play goal earlier, I think the Oilers' penalty kill had, outside of that, were excellent. That goal by Braden Shen was just the penalty kill being a little too slow on moving left to right to match the Blues passing, and eventually resulted in a goal by the Blues. But other than that, I think the Oilers' penalty kill was very excellent, and it would continue because they would have more chances. They even had a couple shots on goal in which Binnington made great saves, because of course he did. If he's going to do it on our power play or even strength, of course he's going to do it on our penalty kill. But at the 15-minute, 31-second mark of the second period, the Oilers get their own power play after Jordan Binnington trips Connor McDavid. I'm not sure how intentional it is. Binnington is the type of goalie to get a penalty of his own. I am too, so I'm not judging. I actually kind of like it when goalies get into it. But I'm not sure how intentional it was. But again, you can't. Doesn't matter. It was tripping. Jake Neighbors takes to the bench because obviously Binnington can't do it. He's the goalie. The Oilers are not successful in that power play. Binnington made some good saves, per usual. Per usual this season, but it felt like especially this game. And then at the 18:28 second mark, there's a 4-on-4 after Sam Carrick and Pavel Buchnevich both go off for cross-checking each other. But the Oilers make it a 4-on-3 after Draisaitl takes his second tripping call of the period 45 seconds out of the end of the period. And once again, the Oilers 5-on-3 of Nuge, Ekholm, and I believe you'll see again. Those are really good. I didn't notice any time Skinner had to make a huge save. He did make some pretty notable saves, but I didn't. And during those stretches of 5-on-3, despite us being down 2 men, it was like, the Oilers 5-on-3 penalty kill was weirdly better than their 5-on-4. Anyway, so that power play bleeds into the third period. I forgot to mention the Blues led the Oilers in shots 17-13, which I don't think is of any excuse to the Oilers. Obviously, a lot has to do with the fact that Oilers were on the penalty kill for quite a bit, but the Oilers are better than the Blues in terms of controlling the play. They should have had more shots than the Blues, I felt. Anyways, third period comes around, and the penalty kill is killed, but not long after that, at a minute and 44 second into the third, Braden Shen scores his second goal of the evening. It's an even strengther at his 17th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Kevin Hayes and Kapanen. After this after this moment in the third period, the Oilers start to remind the Blues who they are. The Oilers remind the Blues that the Oilers are the ones who control the game. The Oilers are the one who control the shots on goal. The Oilers are the one who control everything. And they do for a lot of the third period. But Binnington also kind of reminds the Oilers, as he had been doing all game, he's the reason the Blues are still contending for the playoffs, and he is just absolutely excellent, including during a power play that was initiated by Tucker cross-checking Connor McDavid almost 3 minutes into the third period. That's killed a lot, mainly because of Binnington. And Binnington is nearly perfect, except eventually the Oilers load up the Draisaitl McDavid because we have to do something to get around Binnington. I think our depth would have scored. I think if Binnington wasn't playing at a Vezina level that game, then the Oilers could have gotten away with not loading up the lines. But we had to do something, and there's a beautiful pass by McDavid to Draisaitl that ties up the game. It's Draisaitl's 39th goal of the year, and he's assisted by Ekholm and McDavid. I'm going to grab my charger because I thought I had enough battery. The reason I don't charge it during videos is because it clogs up all the cords here, because I got 3 cords going on here, and I don't want to, it's just awkward. But it's worth it. I'd rather not have the computer die on me, or laptop. Anyway, so it's 2-2, and the Oilers continue to press for the rest of the period. But it ends at a tie after Ekholm has a near miss from the point. And so we headed to overtime. Oilers led in shots during that period 13-5. It was just absolute dominance from the Oilers during that period after allowing a goal. And we're in overtime. The Oilers do have some good play in overtime. Binnington, once again, has better play. And eventually, St. Louis gets down on a very well-timed line change. And Brandon Saad puts the puck in the back of the net for his 25th goal of the year, and the Blues win the game 3-2. Shots were 3-1 for the Oilers in overtime, but again, it doesn't matter if you don't put the puck in the back of the net. So it was a good game by the Blues, obviously. When you win a game, it's a good game. The Oilers had a lot of good going for them, but there wasn't enough great going for them, and struggles. And obviously, their discussion from a lot of Oilers fans is going to be the reffing. I don't think the reffing was bad enough to excuse the Oilers. I don't think that excused the Oilers being undisciplined for a lot of the second period or allowing the Blues to gain ground. I don't think that excuses the Oilers, and I don't think enough. It might have a little bit, but not enough. So while I do agree that reffing was not up to par this game, I don't think it affected the game enough to blame it on the refs. If you want to blame it on the Oilers just getting goalied, that is fair. Binnington had an excellent game, as I've said 6 times, and we'll say more as I get into some of the stats of the game. Not sure if he'll get Vezina nomination, but I think he'll still get Vezina votes because to be nominated, you have to be top 3 in voting. But I think he'll get his share of votes because that's top 5. You get voters get to choose 5 goalies and rank them, and I'm sure he'll get a lot of 4th and 5th, if not higher. He's been absolutely excellent despite having a lot less help than other goalies would get. So, anyways, back to the stats at hand. Oilers did end up out shooting St. Louis 38-29. St. Louis out hit the Oilers 29-14. I would have liked to see a bit more hitting from the Oilers, but I'm not going to hold that against them. I don't think that's why they lost or anything. Excuse me. Again, the Oilers had the puck most of the time, so obviously they're going to get out hit. I think it was just more of a gameplay style thing. One thing where you expect the Oilers to control the puck is in the face-off circle. They've been excellent lately, but tonight St. Louis was better with a 56.1% win rate. The Oilers were 0 for 2 on the power play, mainly because of Binnington, but not to discredit the Blues' penalty kill. The Oilers were 1 for 4 on the penalty kill, which is a decent number, but it could have been a lot worse if not for some excellent play by both Skinner and the penalty kill itself. Skinner was 26 for 29, so his save percentage was below 900, but I think his play deserved a lot better number than that. If you look at the shot chart, you'll see the Blues had quite a lot of chances in front of in those high danger zones, and Skinner was able to turn away more than he probably should have. I know Money Puck's expected goals was favorable to him. I think it was like 3.54 expected goals by the Blues, and since Skinner only allowed 3, that's a positive game for him in terms of their analytics. And I agreed. I don't always agree with the that model. I think it's a little harsh, but I agreed that despite the below 900 save percentage, Skinner had a pretty good game. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. Billington's, I said I was going to praise him more. His was great. I don't think he had as many high danger chances as Skinner. It was, if not, it was probably really close. But he certainly had a lot of overall chances against him, and he saved nearly all of them. He saved 36 of 38, just a monster game from him, both in terms of analytics or your standard save percentage. If I was doing Blues 3 stars, he'd be number 1. I know the official one was Schenn because he had 2 goals, which, yeah, absolutely, I think that's fair, but I don't think Schenn's 2 goals would have mattered much if Draisaitl had 3 because if Binnington wasn't in the net. I think the Oilers and Ekholm and all those guys would have ran away with it if Binnington didn't play so well. I think it still would have been close because, again, the Oilers' second period wasn't what it should be. But anyways, moving on to the 3 stars for the Oilers, I put Mattias Ekholm as the first star for the second game in a row. He had a goal, an assist, and excellent defense on even strength and penalty kill. The second and third star are both defensive defensemen, beginning with Cody Ceci, who had a really good defensive shift at the end of the first period where he had some takeaways and cleared the puck from the crease when Skinner was out of position. He had 21 minutes of ice time on penalty kill and even strength, and I thought was very good tonight. And third star for the second straight game was Vinny Desharnais, who didn't have as much ice time tonight, but he was excellent in it. His Fenwick 4 percentage and expected goals percentage wasn't nice to him, but that's because 88.9% of his starts, if I read that correctly, was in the defensive zone. I want to know that Sam Carrick had 10 uh, shifts, I think was the number, or at least 10 zone starts, and all of them were in the defensive zone. So if his analytics are really bad, that's why, because he wasn't used in the offensive zone and he still managed an assist. So I kind of considered putting him in third star, but I gave it to Desharnais, who was just really good tonight. Um, but only Ekholm was really like tremendously great, as he has been for the last couple of weeks. McDavid was close. He had an assist, really nice assist. Drysdale had a goal, so I thought about considering him, but there wasn't really much defending his two penalties. And other than that, he wasn't too hot, but he was still good. He's still Leon Draisaitl. Yeah, I just went with those three guys. So that's it for now on this extended review, as there was lots to discuss about reffing and all that. I'm trying to keep these reviews under 20 minutes and hopefully put it around the 10-minute mark, but now we're closer to 30 minutes, which is just not okay. But I'm learning, I'm growing. I hope you enjoyed all 25 minutes of this, whether it was actually interested you or you're using me as white noise or you're here just to support me, whether you care or not. I'm happy and grateful. I hope I'll see you again in my next video, which you'll be notified if you subscribe and turn notifications on. And lastly, once again, please leave your thoughts down below, whether regarded reffing or the play tonight or anything really. And I will see you when I see you.